In the morning sun where the flowers bloom, colors burst like a painter's dream come true. Roses red and violets blue, every petal whispers something new. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Indoor greens and outdoor scenes, design your space, let your garden dreams glide. Personal touch with our garden design, free sessions to blend within your budget line. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Now everybody, let's say hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, and every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you, just for you.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to our live Q&A. We're doing it on a different day today than we normally do because obviously there was the public holiday yesterday. We hope you've enjoyed your long weekend, and we're going straight back into the week with a live Q&A today. So if you've been having any plant problems, if there's something that is not looking too good, or it's dying, or you're just a little bit confused on how to take care of it properly, or maybe you want some help with your garden project, you're doing a design up and you're not sure what to do, pretty much anything related to gardening or to plants, this is a space to ask your questions. And it's super simple. All you need to do is just comment below, like I already see some people commenting. I'm going to read it in chronological order to Chris here, who's going to answer them. And so it's a first in, first served. So if you want to make sure that your question definitely gets answered, then you want to comment as soon as possible, because we run these for about 45 minutes and we don't always get to every single question we want to, unfortunately. So yeah, before we get started, do you want to tell them about what's happening this Saturday, Chris? Our live.
Oh yes, that's right. So what's happening this Saturday is we're doing our fourth, and we're getting what it is. We've started. Called our Grower Direct Flash Sale, and what it is I go out. I'll be out with the growers all day tomorrow. I'll be out in the fields from 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, whole day out in the fields, and I'll be talking to the growers and finding the very, very best deals that we can offer to our customers. And and what happens is that with the Grower Direct Flash Sale, things that the growers want to, maybe they've got a few too many of something, like one of the growers this morning offered me 5 foot tall, that's 1.5 metre, weeping lily pillies, and we're going to be able to do them for $19.99. And that's the example. So if you wanted to get a screen in quickly and get a really nice screen, great deal, $19.99, and we'll have about 100 deals like that, like 5-foot weeping lily pillies or 1.5 meter weeping lily pillies for $19.99. And it's because we're out talking to the growers, finding out what they want to clear, what's a good deal, and then making it available to you. So we're out, and so basically we're giving you access to the field, access to the growers, and if you come on Saturday at 12 o'clock on your favourite platform, you'll have access to the fabulous, Victoria has the best nursery industry possibly in the world, very diverse, fabulous prices, incredible range of stock, and you'll have direct access if you come to. There'll be 100 items on special, direct from the grower, and I'll be showing you each of those items, giving you the prices, and then you can link to a page and you can buy off the page.
Exactly. So very exciting. So make sure you set a reminder in your phone for this Saturday. If you're not able to make it, we do have a article on Chris's blog, which is on our website, that will have all the deals up. We have the deals from last week still there, which, how long do they have to grab it until this Saturday?
Until Saturday at 12 o'clock, and they'll go blink, the old ones will be gone.
Exactly,
and you
replaced
may
with the
never
new ones.
see, there might be a particular deal there that you like, and you may never see that again.
Yes, exactly. So go take a look at our deals from last Friday, see if there's anything there, and also get ready for this Saturday. All right, I'm going to get straight into the questions. From Katie, we have, what climate is best for an arch? Want it to look decent year round and not go to sticks, fast growing in lush, full sun area.
What comes to my mind, look, there's lots of climates you could use, but what came to my mind instantly was Lady Di. Now, I like Lady Di for a couple of reasons. First of all, lush, almost tropical, big green foliage, really, really lush, fast growing. Sun or shade, prefers the sun though. Very, very fast growing, evergreen, so you've always got that green foliage, and then throughout the warm months of the year, it's never covered in flowers, but it has beautiful like handfuls or clusters of white, big white, beautiful white flowers for at least 5 or 6 months a year, all through the warm months of the year. So a lot of climbers have very short flowering seasons, and some of them are more spectacular than Lady Di, but nothing else that I can think of is as good looking and flowers for as long as a Lady Di. So evergreen, fast growing, big lush foliage, beautiful clusters of white flowers for a real lot of the year.
Perfect. Serena is up next with going to be transplanting strawberries in my green stalk I set up last year. What soil prep needs to be done before I do this?
Right, so actually what's happening right now is if you've got strawberries, they're throwing runners, and then those runners root down into the ground, and really just any good potting mix. And my grandson's been cultivating them on his front step. He's got a little nursery there, and so they're pretty easy to do. And one of the things, if you're going to be growing them in pots, a great thing to do is grow them in a pot with a saucer of water. They love their water, so a saucer of water, just a shallow 1-inch deep saucer of water underneath them, and your strawberries you can grow beautiful strawberries in pots. And what strawberries like is plenty of fertilizer.
Beautiful. Next one is from Chantal. I have a hedge that's very stick-like at the bottom. What can I do about it?
I'd love to know what it is, but I had a hedge like that. It was a neighbour's begone lily pilly hedge, and it was kind of hard to do, but it had gone really, really high, and all the underneath was empty and terrible. And what I did was I waited till I let it photosynthesize, and through autumn and winter photosynthesize and build up a nice lot of energy inside it. And then right on the first week of September, I went through and chainsawed it off to about 1 metre and a bit.
Yeah.
And it looked terrible. It looked like a disaster. But that it was back by the watered and fertilized through the spring summer. It was back to its old height, virtually within one growing season, but thick and bushy from the ground up, because the shoots came up from everywhere. And most hedges, now there'd be some hedges that wouldn't work on, but your lily pilly, your Photinia, even your Leighton's green cypress, all of those things will start bushing up from the base with a good hard cut. And I mean, I'd be ferocious. Like with privet, you can cut it nearly back to the ground level, but it's no good doing it in autumn and it can't reshoot till spring, because then it'll run out of energy. What I do is, if I'm doing that really hard cut and trying to stimulate strong base shoots, I wait until the end of winter and the start of spring, just before they start growing, and then I chop them off real hard.
Yeah. Next one is from Gerhan saying, "Hey guys, I have 20 neighbors be gone and 2 of them are struggling badly. I'm certain one is dead. I don't know what I've done wrong."
Well, neighbours be gone.
And it says the others, I just got some more information. The others have grown thrice in size from an 8-inch pot, but one of the 2 hasn't grown at all, and the other is wilted dead. All planted around the same spots, recommended distance adhered to.
Right, okay. What I would be doing is I'd be replacing those ones, but what I'd be doing is digging really deep, big holes and mixing some potting mix through there. Generally, when I find that 1 or 2 plants in a group aren't doing well, you'll find that, like on typical properties, you've had all sorts of earth moving equipment when the construction was taking place, and you can have a real hard patch of clay somewhere and not realise it, and that could also have poor drainage, or the moisture doesn't go into it. So whenever I'd have to replace one, I would dig a really big hole and mix 50% potting mix all through that hole, a bit of soil, and plant it with soil wetter, plant it right at the top of the hole, put soil wetter on the top, put Osmocote on it, keep it well watered, and I'm sure that you'll be able to replace them and get them going good. Even the ones that aren't really growing, lily pillies, if they're in the wrong spot, they'll either die or just sit there. So even the ones that aren't growing, get rid of them, replace them with nice ones, but dig a nice big hole and really prepare it nicely.
Yeah, amazing. Next one is.
And what I was going to say, if you bought them from me, come back and we'll do a half price changeover for you.
Yeah. Next one is my grass has a lot of dog issues. What is the best way to regrow it in the area?
We had 2 big dogs in our backyard, and it was going bald, and my partner fenced off little sections of it and planted kikuyu, and now we've got 1 big dog, we've got lots of kikuyu, and kikuyu seems to be the grass to grow, and you can buy kikuyu and roll it out as turf, or you can buy a piece of turf, tear it up, which is what we did, tear it up into little pieces and then plant all those little pieces. Yeah, out of a square metre of turf, you'll get maybe 80 or 100 pieces of kikuyu, and every one will grow with a bit of water and fertiliser.
Yeah.
So, and kikuyu seems to be the dog, the one that's so ferocious and fast that the dogs can't kill it. And the trick is also don't mow it too short, keep it a little bit long for the dog.
Yeah, perfect. Next one is from JPS Gold, who wants to know, where's the tutu, mate?
In the wash.
Maybe if enough people ask for it, maybe we'll bring it out in some of our videos again next week.
Yeah, actually, it's up in Wayne's room. We can get Wayne to bring it round, maybe. Get Mel to get Wayne to bring it round. I'll show it to him.
Mel, could you get Wayne to bring the pink tutu, please? Bring the pink tutu.
It's up in his office.
Well, ask and you shall receive. So, pink tutu on its way. All right, moving on to the next question from Aq. How to maintain sublime lily pilly? Worried I might overwater them. Do I water every day? How much?
Right, okay. They love the water. It would be difficult to overwater them. It would only be overwatering if you had a really bad drainage problem. I think what you should be doing is you should be, like with soil wetter helps the water go in and it helps it disperse within the ground and even drain away a little bit. I think I would do a couple of things. First of all, I'd dig down beside them and see dig down, a foot or so, just down beside the root ball, a foot or so down, and is it soaking wet or is it a bit on the dry side? Then whatever, I would be putting some soil wetter there, and then if it's soaking wet, you'd be backing off on the watering, and if it's all bone dry, soil wetter and a really good deep soak, like a really nice deep slow soak. And I go on about this a lot, and some people think I'm nuts, but one of the problems that people have with watering is those little orange guns that they have on the end of their half-inch hose. I had a lady the other day, and she said, "Look, my garden." I did a garden design. She put a garden in, and she said, "It's not dead, but it's not doing well." At any rate, I went there and I showed her. She had the little orange gun, and she goes around and she watered all the plants for 10 seconds twice, so 2 10-second bursts on every plant. But I showed her, and we tested it, and she had a 9-litre watering can, and it took 47 seconds using that orange gun to fill up a 9-litre can. So that means that in a minute, she's only putting out about 15 litres a minute with the orange gun. And at any rate, I then took the gun off her hose, and we tested it, and it took around half as long to fill the bucket. So now she's got rid of her orange gun. She's using one of the rosettes that we have on our website, which doesn't slow the water flow at all. And what it's done is now she's doing a 210. She's still doing a 2 10-second waterings, but she's putting twice as much water on. So a lot of people, they might water with that orange gun, but with that little orange gun, not much. You can test it yourself. If you've got one of those little guns that you push like that and they've got various different settings on it, get it out a 10-litre bucket and see how long it takes to fill it. Then take the gun off and then see how long it takes. And I think you'll double your output of water. And I think and I think a lot of people feel that they've watered, but they haven't put out enough water because of those little guns. So we've got a video about those little guns, and we show you how if you upgrade from a 1/2-inch hose to a 1-inch hose, that'll double your output. And if you get rid of the little gun and put on a nice rosette, or even just get rid of the gun and use your finger, just put your finger on the end of the hose. But basically, a lot of people do well to increase their water output by getting rid of the gun and perhaps even upgrading their hose size, so that while you're standing there, you're putting out plenty of water.
Amazing. All right, well, we have the 2-2 here, but I think it should be a special reward. So I'm going to say if we can double the likes we have on TikTok right now, I'm going to bring the 2-2 out. We are currently sitting at 900. Oh, it's jumping up so high as I'm literally saying that. It was at 955 when I started talking, so we'll go from there. So if we can get to about 1,800, I'm going to bring the 2-2 out. This is only for TikTok, so if you're on another platform, it's not going to work. But considering the question was on TikTok, we're going to keep it there. We're at 1.1K. Oh, 1.2. You guys are jumping up quickly. All right, I'm going to go to the next question from Katie. We just had floods here in Queensland. How long should I wait before watering the garden again to avoid rot? And yes, all our sympathies go out to everyone in Queensland and everything that's been happening there.
Yeah, we've been very lucky that it's been a terrible situation, but we're lucky that it wasn't worse. It could have been a lot worse up there.
Exactly.
And, but people are still facing floods. And what I think that there's going to be quite a lot of rain for the next month. There's so much moisture around that as the heat comes back, it'll evaporate moisture from the floods and it'll keep on raining. So I think it could be a couple of months before you start watering, because you might because I think that those floods are going to cause a lot more rain in the near future. Because every time the hot sun comes out, there's millions of acres of water out there to evaporate. So I think it could rain and rain and rain and rain and rain for quite a while yet.
Yep. And let's say it doesn't rain much more. Do you have an ETA?
Well, I would imagine that in your pots you'll be watering once a day for your pots, and the garden could take 2 or 3 weeks just to dry up because it's been such an incredible inundation.
Yeah. Well, we reached
But I think it'll take months. I think it'll keep on raining because of the evaporation. Like every direction that the wind comes from, you'll be getting humidity and rain.
Yes, very good point. Well, you guys exceeded the 1.8K likes, so I'm going to pass the 2-2 over to Chris.
Wow, thank you. And here we are.
So here you are. Here's the big 2-2. As requested.
So there we are.
I hope you're happy. JPS Gold, if you're still watching, let us know. There you go, pick 2-2. Great. All right. Well, we're going to move on to go back to an old question from
But actually, on my next live, I'll wear it.
Okay, Saturday.
Okay.
So come Saturday and you'll see him in the pink 2-2.
Yep.
I'm going to go back to Chantal's question just because I see that she sent in what hedge she had. Sometimes I don't see the comments straight away just because they're a lot further down, so I have to scroll down. But because I'm trying to make sure that I'm answering the questions in order, they get lost. So sorry about that, Chantal. Hers was the one that talked about it being very stick-like at the bottom, and she is saying that it is a Escallonia hedge. Do you have any different advice for an Escallonia?
No, I don't, but don't cut. Like I've got some Escallonias I have to cut too, and I won't be cutting them probably till middle of August. So cut them hard in the middle of August and they'll regenerate beautifully.
Yeah.
And what you could do now, what we want to do is we want them to really bounce back, and you could put some fertilizer, a bit like some Osmocote, whatever you've got, a bit of top dress them with a bit of fertilizer now and help build up their strength ready for that big move they've got to make in spring. And cut them back nice and hard, and you'll get shoots from down low, and and in no time at all you have it's like reincarnation. You'll have a brand new hedge again.
Perfect. Next one's from Lisa. What would you suggest for low-laying potted things for a coffee table? I don't want a moss pot.
Low-lying things on a...
So like a flat thing for a pot, for a coffee table. That isn't moss.
Interesting question. I was thinking, we've got them at home. What are they called? The you know, the little pearl succulents. What are they called?
Jade?
String of beans. Is it string of beans or string of
of
pearls?
pearls,
String of
yeah.
pearls. My first thought was string of pearls. They're lovely, and they'll cascade over the side of the pot and be nice and low and flat. You could even use some silver dichondra inside for a while, and also like your dwarf mondo grass or your black mondo grass are all quite capable of being indoor plants. So a mondo grass, a black mondo grass, string of pearls, or perhaps a silver dichondra. A lot would depend really on the type of pot that you've got, but string of pearls would be nice.
Yeah, that'd be very nice. All right, next one from Britty. I have 3 magnolia little gems in pots that the leaves are turning brown and falling off. Ideas?
I'd repot them, fertilise them, and water them more. And a really good dose, say, of Osmocote. Repot them, nice potting mix, bigger pot. I'd say that they're dry and hungry and a bit sad.
Yeah. Matcha asks, would a Japanese maple work well in ground that is on a sand belt, Mornington Peninsula, but also has quite a bit of clay in it, or should I just put it in a pot?
I think that the Japanese maple is going to be much happier planted in the ground. And what you do is dig a nice big hole, mix the clay and sand together, add some nice compost or some nice potting mix, and mix it up, make the soil really good. And I think it would love being down there in the sandbelt if you improve, sort of enrich it with a bit of compost, and that clay would be a good mix through the sand. And they love a bit of tucker, like a bit of Osmocote or something like that. And now is a great time to be out planting a Japanese maple because they'll grow lots of roots from now to winter and boom away in the spring.
Yeah, perfect. All right, Diane would like to know, I've just moved into a new place. A 6-meter Robinias tree is close to the back of the house and sprouting all over the backyard, lifting the walkway, etc. I heard if I remove it, the roots will continue to sprout. How best to handle this?
Okay, so Robinias, I once cleared a field of Robinias, and the suckers came up by the tens of thousands. And what I did was they're quite ferocious. And what it is you need to understand what's going on. You can chop the Robinia off, and suckers will pop up everywhere. Now the trick is that if you let what it is that they've stored energy, they've stored sugars and energy and things like that down deep under the ground in their roots, and they're using that energy to throw up suckers, and they can throw up quite a lot of suckers, but if every time you see a sucker, you get a sharp little hoe or a sharp knife and you chop that sucker off, and you don't let that sucker photosynthesize, within 2 years, the tree will die and there'll be no more suckers. But
Okay.
if you allow the suckers to come up and catch a bit of the sun's rays, they put the sugar back into the tree, and then it keeps on suckering. So some people say that you can't stop them and they'll sucker forever, but I found that they've only got a limited supply under the ground, and you do not let that sucker photosynthesize, and it will disappear.
Okay, perfect. Next one is from Ozzy No Worries. Hi, what can I do to save my young plum tree from pear slugs? They have eaten most of the leaves, and the tree looks all eaten now.
I remember complaining when I was young to my mum about pear slug on some plants, and my mum said that pear slug is the easiest thing in the world to kill. It's sort of almost like they want to die. And at any rate, I found that if you get I don't sell it here, but you go to Bunnings and if you get a little bit of pyrethrum, and I used to just mix up my sprayer with dishwashing detergent and a little twist of pyrethrum in it, just a tiny bit of pyrethrum, and you spray them once, and then within 24 hours, like after say 20 hours or something like that, you spray them again, you'll wipe them out. And the trick is to start spraying with and detergent and pyrethrum through. So I used to use that a lot, when I had little kids around the house because I didn't want them to have contact with poison. so it's a very, very safe spray. And if you spray sort of end of October, you can really nip them in the bud, and you don't have to wait for a plague to come to start spraying. And it's a cheap, non-toxic spray. So a good whack of dishwashing detergent, nice little twist of pyrethrum, and you're in business.
Perfect. Lisa would like to know what's your go-to solution for gnats indoors, please.
Hey, that's what we need to research. I really don't know the answer to that. They're buggers of things, really. I think let's Google that and come back next week. I think we talked about that, but we haven't done it yet. So let's make a point that when we come back next Monday at 12 o'clock, we'll have the answer to gnats indoors.
Yeah. Well, Google is saying things like use traps, dry out soil, or use scents they dislike. So like you can make vinegar traps. There are also commercial traps, avoid overwatering, clean drains. They don't like scents like vinegar, vanilla, pine oil, peppermint, lemon, eucalyptus, and lavender. So maybe give some of that a go and see how that works. And if you're unsuccessful, we'll also do our own research in the meantime and come together next week again. Next one is from Jazzy. What's some plants we should be planting in Brisbane this time of the year?
I think water plants.
What are some actual plants, Chris?
Look, really, I did a garden design. For somebody in about 3 hours drive, Harvey Bay, on the weekend, and they didn't like the classic sort of palm trees type garden. They didn't want the palms and things. They were bored with the palms. They were Queenslanders, bored with palm trees. And I used tropical birches, and I used and also I looked and I found that in Brisbane there's quite a few cottage plants. We're a real specialist in cottage plants. There's quite a few cottage plants that do really, really well in Brisbane. So we put a bit of a cottage garden in there. And we put in some large areas of Chinese star jasmine, and we also use Japanese box. I know does very well up there in Queensland. And that way we made a garden with a different style. But I think you can plant almost anything any time of the year in Queensland. Like it's a year-round warm climate. But in that particular garden we used nice big Japanese box to be clipped into balls, Chinese star jasmine to cover large areas, and lots and lots of clumps of tropical birch to give because the lady wanted to have a kind of like an English garden feel, and then we're doing a large area of cottage plants.
Beautiful. All right, next one is, does Pratia need to be in a container garden, or is the maintenance easy enough to keep off pathways?
Yeah, look, Pratia is vigorous without being crazy, and so you can use your Pratia to grow directly in the ground, and it won't ever be a problem. Easy to get rid of.
Amazing. All right, next one is how to stop my gardenias turning yellow and drying off.
Okay, so what gardenias like is they like acidic soil. Most potting mixes tend to be slightly on the acidic soil, but you can actually get a gardenia potting mix. But the miracle thing for gardenias, and I've seen it almost bring gardenias back from the dead, is Osmocote liquid fertilizer for acid-loving plants. And it is miraculous on your gardenias. So if your gardenias look good, you use that and they'll look fantastic. If your gardenias look terrible, in no time they'll be looking good. So and with your liquid fertilizers, what you want to do is you want to do them very early in the morning or on a misty day, cool day. What you want is that liquid, you mix it up, you water it on, and you want it to sort of stay as little droplets on the leaves for as long as possible. So because once they dry up, the plant can't suck up that anymore. So to get the best value, you do it at a time when the evaporation rate is low. And like a foggy morning, and which you often get in autumn, is a great time to be out there doing it. So Osmocote liquid fertilizer for acid-loving plants, nice acidic potting mix, and you can buy Debco make a potting mix specifically for gardenias and roses and azaleas.
Amazing. All right. Moving on to the next question, which is, I have just brought a country home and want to plant trees to block out neighbours. What do you suggest?
Country property,
Yeah,
block out the neighbours.
yeah.
Um, for quick blocking out of neighbours, it would be hard to beat the Leighton's Green Cypress. And we've got those we've got them a metre tall for $10 at the moment. There seems to be a bit of a glut of them around. And but they're a fabulous tree. If you put them in, keep the grass and weeds away, water and fertilise them, you'll have them up 3.5 metres in 2 years. So, and lots of people have done that. And so, and they go, and you put them about 1.5 metres apart, and in 2 years you'll have a 3 metre green wall, and those neighbours will be gone.
Amazing. Next question is, what are some nice plants for an area that doesn't get much sun?
Okay. These days, there's lots of people have got because the cities are becoming so intensively developed. You've got lots of big 2-story walls everywhere, and lots of people are having to deal with shade. So it's something that we deal with every day. So a climber, my favourite climber in deep shade is, and not many climbers like deep shade, is Chinese star jasmine. And Chinese star jasmine can also be a ground cover in deep shade. And what's good about Chinese star jasmine, if you've got a spot that's sunny at one side and shady on the other side, you can grow it as a ground cover, and it'll do good in sun and shade. And then, so Chinese star jasmine is one, but other things that are really good is your New Zealand rock lily, fabulous. Your hellebore, for nice coloured foliage, you've got your irisine bloodleaf, beautiful bright red foliage, and a lot of red things sort of, if you get a beautiful red weeping maple and put it in deep shade, it'll actually lose the red, so kind of a bit pointless. But your irisine seems to intensify its red in the shade, so really, really handy thing for a bit of colour in the shade. And then the other day, I sort of remembered something, like you kind of forget things, but in the old days, what was really, really popular was Aucuba japonica gold dust. And it's a beautiful glossy green leaf, very, very hardy plant in the shade. Grows 1.5 to 2 metres tall. Beautiful bright golden spots all over the leaves. And a great thing for brightening up a shady corner. Then, of course, you've got all your mondo grasses and liriopes, and between them you've got lots of different coloured flowers, lots of different coloured leaves, lots of heights, lots of textures, but any of your mondos and liriopes, fabulous for filling up a shady spot. So there you are, you've got mondos and liriopes, you've got Aucuba gold dust, you've got your irisine bloodleaf, and you've got your New Zealand rock lily. And then what everybody's raving about at the moment is hydrangeas. Everyone's gone hydrangea crazy. It's like hydrangea fever. And hydrangeas love they love water and they love shade, they like morning sun, afternoon shade. There are a few varieties we sell here that will take the sun, but generally, even the ones that take the sun would love to be in the shade or in the morning sun and the afternoon shade or dappled shade. So hydrangeas love shade and give off lots and lots of colour, and there's all different ones. Ones with beautiful autumn leaves and ones with all different coloured flowers and different shaped flowers. And you'll find we've got a fabulous range of them on the website. You can look at that, but they're one of the best shade plants around.
Perfect. Next one is from Jay. Got Fuyu persimmons 2 years ago with other fruit trees. It's healthy and produced a few fruits this year, but not growing tall or wide like other trees. Anything to do or just be patient?
They can be a very, very strong grower. I think they're a little fussy about the soil they grow in. So when winter comes, if it's not growing, when winter comes, perhaps you could dig it up with plenty of fruit, dig a really big hole, mix lots and lots of potting mix through it, make lovely loose soil, plant it up nice and high, then take on a program of fertilising it well next spring, summer, but have it in a little mound of beautiful, with lots of loose soil underneath it, and because they do like their good soil.
Amazing. Next one is from Beauty again, talking about those magnolias. So the magnolias have been repotted and fed. I'm thinking more water, but how often do I water in Victoria?
With our magnolias that we have here in pots, we water them every day while it's hot. A good deep soak every day. And then also, if you've got one of those little orange guns, take it off and water them with your finger, or buy the nice rosette we have on the website. But basically, perhaps increase the water And in the hot weather, like it's 32 degrees or something today, water them every day.
Okay. Got another watering question here, and I'm noticing that we're getting quite a lot of water questions just on these lives. And just letting you know that we do have an article all about watering up on Chris's blog, which is just on our website. So if you go to our website and then you look up at the top at that menu bar, there's Chris's blog. You just click on that. There's a search function. You can search water or watering. And there we have an in-depth article all about watering your plants correctly. But I'm just going to ask Ken's question here. How many times do I water Portuguese laurel?
Okay, so I'm assuming that you've got them in the ground. Portuguese laurel are quite deep rooted, and I'd imagine that even in hot weather, if you're doing it properly, what you would do is you might, if you're wanting them to really grow and perform well, you might give them a really good deep soak every week or so in the really, really hot weather. So a good deep soak every week, and get the roots are going to be down over a metre in the ground. So get that water in sort of slow. And if you're having trouble getting it, use a bit of soil wetter, use a soaking hose, but a nice big deep soak once a week. And then as the weather cools off, it would be every 10 days, and then every 2 weeks, and then once every 3 or 4 weeks, or possibly ease right off in the winter. But basically, go for deep soaks and not too often.
Amazing. Next one is from Jazzy. What to use to kill the infestation of mealy bugs on my frangipani tree?
I reckon you could use my my dishwashing detergent and a little bit of pyrethrum, but maybe a little bit heavier on the pyrethrum. Or you can use, there's various, I think we have it here as Conguard, like to really knock them dead, something like Conguard, but it's a bit of a nasty poison, but Conguard we have here, and that'll any of those little tiny sucking insects, that'll knock them dead.
Yep, perfect. Casto would like to know, is there a way to reduce black spots on roses apart from the poison? Also, how often should I treat them?
Okay. Do you know, I think a little bit of lime around your roses, fertilizer, good strong healthy growth, that would tend to help with your black spot. I've heard people say that putting milk on them, but I've never tried that. You could also try a natural spray like Bordeaux mixture, which Bordeaux mixture you can buy the chemicals and mix that up yourself. You should only ever mix it up yourself. But Bordeaux mixture is the very first fungicide invented by humans, hundreds of years ago, and it's still a very, very effective, low toxicity spray that you could use today. So Bordeaux mixture would be a really good way to tackle it. Mix it up yourself, and I'd say at times when you're susceptible to black spot, I think if you were to spray in times of high susceptibility every 10 days, otherwise every 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, amazing. Next one is from Kathy saying, help, my lime laver is getting scorched by Brisbane sun. What do I do?
I wonder if it's being scorched by Brisbane sun, or is it a bit dry? Because I grow mine in Shepparton sun, which I think is more ferocious than Brisbane sun, and so I'd be worried about that they maybe have dried out a little.
Yeah.
And because the only ones I've seen go off in my Shepparton sun are the ones that didn't get enough water.
Okay, so maybe increase your watering, Kathy, and see if that helps, because they are able to grow in full hot sun. So
yeah. One of the things, because of the round shape of them, they tend to eject a bit of water off the top. So you've really got to, what I've found, I'm growing quite a few hundred of them commercially, and you've got to sort of pump the water into them as they get quite big, because they tend to be shedding it.
Chloe says, Chris, tell me, planted a crepe myrtle only a week ago, planted 3, and one's looking very sad and already losing its flowers. Too much water? Is it the heat because we had a heat wave? What do you think's going on there, Chris?
Okay, after a week, I would bet $10 that it's too dry, and and what I would do is because too wet, crepe myrtles are fairly tolerant to very wet conditions, but too wet would tend to take 2 or 3 weeks to really show itself. So I would be digging down beside the roots, and I'd be checking to see if it's dry there. And what you might need to do is scrape a little bit of dirt away from the top to expose the root ball a little bit, and give it a really good deep soak right away. Like just get a hose and get it dripping, and put the hose on that root ball, right on the root ball. Not like a lot of people bury their plants in too deep, and their local soil repels water. And so what you want to do is scrape away that local soil, expose the root ball, get your hose so it's drip, 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 drip like that, and then just get it dripping there and leave it there for a couple of hours. But I dig down and see if I'm correct, but I would bet $10 that it's too dry
Yeah. All right.
to be in trouble in a week.
Okay. Next question is from Damo. What is the best way to grow a tree fern?
Okay, there's different types of tree ferns, but let's talk about the common one, which is called Antarctica, and that's the one that they cut off in the bush, and mostly it's all done under government supervision, and particularly where there's pine forests in Gippsland and that, they cut them out under the pine forest just before they clear them, so they're actually saving them from destruction by bulldozers. But anyway, so you get them, they're cut off, and do you know that what they like is they're like in the top, and when you buy them, sometimes they're dried up and they're dead. So if you put your finger down in the top, you'll feel lovely, healthy shoots in the top, and that's a good one. And you take that good one home, you put it in a spot with maybe a little bit of morning sun or complete shade or dappled shade, nice shady spot, and you plant it about a quarter of its depth into the ground so it doesn't fall over easily. And then you put a teaspoon, this sounds strange, but it works, a teaspoon of sugar in that hollow in the top. And then when you water it by putting the hose on the top of it, and have the water go into that hole and then flood down and run down the sides of it. And in no time at all, you'll have beautiful shoots. And then once it starts growing, a bit of Osmocote around the base, only small doses of Osmocote, plenty of water, and your tree fern will be terrific.
Perfect. All right. We are almost done for today. I'm going to maybe ask 2 more questions. I'm going to ask Mahesh's, which is a bit of a long one. So they say, hi, my Lisbon lime started to die. It was doing all fine suddenly, and one of the branches dried up. I cut it off. Then it started to spread to another branch. I have other citrus trees that are all doing fine. Let me just find the rest of the comment. Yeah, trimmed up. So took off the branch that was dried up. Then it spread to other branches. And he says that he's watering as per Chris's advice, only the plant is struggling.
So the first thing I would do is I'd be having a dig around the base and make sure it's not too dry or too wet. That's the most common thing that goes wrong. Not enough, and too wet isn't really too much water. Too wet is lack of drainage. So I dig down beside the root ball,
dried up, and it spread to other branches.
Smell like the smell you get
and
from
he
a
says that
septic
he's
tank,
watering
if I've
as
got a
per
nasty
Chris's
smell, I know it's
advice,
too
only
wet,
the plant.
or you can see pretty quickly that it's too dry. And like I come up with lots of situations like that. I dig down. Is it too wet or too dry? If it's too wet, you back off on the water. If it's too dry, you've got to scrape away a bit of the dirt from the top and put a hose that's dripping on it and give it a good deep soak. So that'd be my first thing, and I'd look at it, and then at the same time, if it's moist and it's not too wet and not too dry, I'd imagine that this has been planted in perhaps poor soil or hard soil or something like that. What you could do if it hasn't been in for too long is you could dig it up, dig a really big hole, mix in lots and lots of potting mix. They love to grow in a little mound of beautiful soil, so you can finish off that soil in a nice little low mound and plant it up nice and high, slip some Osmocote around it and keep it moist, then you should be fine.
Amazing. All right. We are going to stop there for today. Do you just want to quickly remind any newcomers about what's happening Saturday?
Okay, so Saturday you can join me live, and as per popular request, one person requested it, I'll be wearing a pink tutu. And what I'll be doing, it's our Grower Direct flash sale. And so what's going to happen is I'm going to be really taking you to the fields. But what it is, I've gone out, I've seen the growers, I've got the plants here. And we'll have about 100 odd specials, and you'll be able to select those specials, and and it's direct from the fields. And like the first special that I've got is a 5-foot weeping lily pilly, fabulous if you want to screen out those units or flats next door. 5 foot tall for $19.99. So that's incredible value. You won't get that anywhere else than at our Grower Direct flash sale. 5 foot tall, $19.99, and we're going to have 100 specials, all of them highly desirable product at highly desirable prices, and we're getting them direct from the grower.
Amazing. Yep. So join us on Saturday on whatever platform you are on right now. We're going to be going live on many different platforms. And yeah, I hope the rest of your Tuesday is lovely. We'll see you Saturday. Please spread the word because we want to, have as many people have beautiful gardens for not too expensive as possible. So let them know about our sale or let them know about our live. We do it on a weekly basis, normally on a Monday, but obviously there was the public holiday. But we will be going back to our typical Monday from next week. And yeah, we will see you hopefully Saturday or Monday.
In the morning sun, where the flowers bloom, colors burst like a painter's dream come true. Roses red and violets blue, every petal whispers something new. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello, plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello, plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Indoor greens and outdoor scenes, design your space, let your garden dreams glide. Personal touch with our garden design, free sessions to blend within your budget line. From tiny seeds to trees so grand,